All right. With that, we will move along in our agenda here. Up next, we have Meredith. Again, she'll be presenting the rest of the updates that are found in 25.12.
Thanks, Sally. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so my name is Meredith. I'll just be going over what is new in the PowerSchool 25.12 release. And again, this is going to be applied, as Sally said, to all of our production boxes this Saturday, January 10th. So a lot of these, most of what I'm going to talk about today are some minor updates, but just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that these have been updated. So the multi-factor, as Sally mentioned, I'm not going to go too much into the MFA because Sally just went over that with us, but that was one of the big updates in 25.12. There is also an update to the course staff, our update course staff page that now allows column sorting. So we'll talk a bit about that. The next three enhancements are all to do with incident management. So since most of our districts are not utilizing that in any way, currently we're not going to go over those today, but those are three updates that they made within the incident management page. There's some new dynamic text options that have been added to various notifications and application events. So we'll talk about that. Again, just a minor update, but helpful to know that they are there. And then Apache Tomcat, Apache Struts, and Java have also been updated as system updates. So again, this is nothing huge, but helpful to know if Update Core Staff is a page that you use. So just to orient everyone, is you can access this page by going to School Management, Courses and Programs, and then Update Course Staff. So the change here is you can now sort by column header when reassigning staff or assigning additional course staff. So you can sort by any of those columns there. So course name, course number, any of those columns you can sort by now in this update. So just as an example here, this is after you've selected whether you are reassigning course staff or maybe adding new course staff, such as if you were adding a co-teacher to multiple sections. You can see there's those filters there previously on the left, but those are still available for you to use, of course. But if you just want a faster way to sort of sort through, especially if you have a lot of classes here, you can now sort by the column title. So course number, course name, section, anything there, you can click on and sort. And that is the update for 25.12. There are a couple new additions to the dynamic text options in notifications. So this is at the district office level. If you utilize notifications, this might be something to put on your radar. If you go to system management, data, and notifications, again at the district office level, these are some new updates to the dynamic text options to customize those notifications. So the first is course name. So that has been added to as a dynamic text option for 3 application events. So that is class registration, drop class registration, or remote class registration. So any of those, if you are creating a notification for any one of those events, you can use this feature to include the actual name of the course, which is helpful for anyone who is receiving that notification. So similarly, you can add the option for entry date and entry code if you are transferring a student to another school. If you have that set up as a notification, you can now add the dynamic text option here as well. So again, minor updates here, but just helpful things that have been added in 25.12. Again, like I mentioned before, there were system updates as well. So in addition to these enhancements in 25.12, there were some key fixes just wanted to highlight. And again, as always, if you want to know more about these key fixes or any of the enhancements, you can view the PowerSchool release notes and PowerSchool community. But just as a note for everyone, we have the option now, or contact log now sorts states chronologically. The graduation plan progress includes all child requirements as in progress. There just have been some updates to the server side build engine of PowerScheduler. PowerTeacher Pro's fill functionality properly fills only filtered results. And there have been startup performance improvements as well. So like I said, if you want more information about this update, please review those release notes on PowerSchool Community. And then finally, just as a reminder, please make sure that you are keeping up to date with your Meta monthly to-do list for PowerSchool. With the new year and new semester beginning for many schools, there are some important updates for the month of January that you want to make sure you are reviewing as we shift into the second half of the school year. If you have any questions about that checklist, of course, you can put in a case and reach out, and that can be found if you don't have a copy of that, that can be found in our meta documentation. Any questions? That's all I have.
I don't see any questions, so thank you very much, Meredith.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, we'll have Chris talking about MyPowerHub.
I wanted to take, again, just a few minutes to provide an update on where we're currently at with MyPowerHub implementations, as well as some updates to our current implementation process. So as of right now, 36 of our member district instances have been successfully activated MyPowerHub. I'd like to say to those districts that have completed the implementation process, again, thank you. We appreciate that. For any districts that haven't scheduled a time to implement yet, the time to do that is as soon as possible. Do it as soon as you can. We are encouraging the districts to schedule their MyPowerHub implementation as soon as possible. That it's important to note that implementation doesn't require immediate activation for families and students. However, implementing now does allow the districts time to familiarize themselves with the platform before going live. Our goal is to have all meta districts implemented by the end of the 2025-2026 school year. The Meta Solutions support, just as a reminder, Meta Solutions support for the current parent and student portal is planned to be phased out for the 26-27 school year. This means that while access will remain to the current parent-student portal, the customizations that we have within the parent-student portal will no longer be updated or maintained with the same regularity. And then again, early implementation is going to help your district to ensure a smooth transition and ample time for training and adaptation for that 26-27 school year phasing. There we go. So some updates on the implementation streamlining and some additional training opportunities. So as we've rolled over into the beginning of 2026 and we're coming towards, before we're going to blink and it's going to be the end of the 25-26 school year, to help in streamlining the implementation process, we are advising PowerSchool at this time to proceed with provisioning URLs for any remaining districts that have not yet been implemented. I want to stress when I say provisioning URLs, that does not mean that MyPowerHub is going to be live for students and parents. This is simply being done, basically creating the URL, the web page, the ability to access the MyPowerHub servers on the PowerSchool side. This is being done now to simplify and minimize the time needed for an implementation that's scheduled. And it also allows, because of that shortened time, we can fit more in our available time slots. It allows more implementation availability for school districts that want to get set up. I will say, if your district does not utilize the current parent-student portal at all, I know there are some, oftentimes career centers, JVSs, things like that maybe don't even really use the current portal as it exists. Or if your district has serious concerns regarding this provisioning and doesn't want Meta to proceed with implementing MyPowerHub for your district, please submit a ticket to us. Let us know and explain the reasoning, and we'll work with you on a case-by-case basis regarding getting that URL established. Obviously, if you don't use the portal in any way, shape, or form at this time, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense for you to have another URL, like have a server instance at PowerSchool that that exists. In addition to this streamlining, we're also going to be providing some additional training material and some refresher opportunities. By the end of this week, we'll have an additional MyPowerHub quick reference document available on the Meta documentation site. So if you've already been through implementation, but maybe it's been a little while and you just want a document to look at to remember what each thing does, that's going to help there. We're also going to have a refresher overview of MyPowerHub. Again, really kind of geared towards people that have already had it implemented, just as a refresher if maybe you haven't been out to it for a little while. And that is going to be posted on our Meta YouTube page. In addition to those training materials that we're going to be providing, we've also collaborated with PowerSchool, as was mentioned by Sally earlier, to provide you with 3 PowerSchool-led MyPowerHub training and demo sessions. Those sessions are going to be available today, the 8th, this afternoon, February 12th, and March 12th. These PowerSchool-led trainings are going to provide a detailed walkthrough of the MyPowerHub platform. They'll also include a demonstration of all of the features, some of which are not included in the free version that we're able to provide to you, so are at additional costs that you'd be able to work with PowerSchool in obtaining, that are available within the MyPowerHub portal. But it is a good opportunity for you to see outside of my implementation, or I should say Meta's implementation and the Meta version. If you're curious to see what some of all of the other features could be, there is an opportunity there for that as well. And again, just want to remind everybody to get started with MyPowerHub implementation. Easy for me to say, implementation. Districts can book their implementation appointment by visiting the scheduling link that we've sent out in our district leader meeting, or in our district leader communications, or you could scan this QR code for easy access to the Meta implementations booking page. Once an appointment has been booked, we'll then create a Meta ticket for additional communication and collaboration with you and your district. And that's pretty much all the updates I had. Did anybody have any questions on that?
Thanks, Chris. We did have one question in the chat about the March 12th date. So the district leader meeting again would be March 12th in the morning, and the MyPowerHub training would be in the afternoon. Again, both of those dates are at this time tentative. As we receive more information from PowerSchool on a potential PSUG meeting, we will update and reschedule as needed. So again, both of those are on the calendar now, both the district leader meeting and the MyPowerHub training in the afternoon. They're both on the calendar right now. We are looking to get information as quickly as possible from PowerSchool so we can update all of our district leaders accordingly on that March 12th date.
Excellent. Thank you, Sally.
All right. Thank you, Chris. We will move on within our agenda. Next, we have some truancy and chronic absenteeism updates from Susan Payne.
Good morning, everyone. Can you believe it's 2026? Time flies when we're having fun, right?
Exactly.
Okay, can you see my documentation?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I wanted to give an update on House Bill 96 and on the, the progress that we've made in PowerSchool for this. You will find this document is kind of repetitive of what I've been doing. That is for a reason. I think the more you read it, the more you understand. It is very different than House Bill 410. So I'm going to just kind of hit some highlights here. I had a Zoom session in December. I've added the Q&A to this document. So any questions that were asked in that, I've got the answers in here. And then I'm just continuing to add to it with some updates for today. So again, I'm going to hit on, the attendance laws have been updated. It's no longer considered House Bill 410. It's Ohio's attendance laws. It's not really referred to as House Bill 96 either. It's just Ohio attendance laws now. So with that passing of that law that became effective September 30th of 2025, it did away with excessively absent, and it added chronically absent. Habitual truancy did not change. The only change with it is that the state no longer accepts the FT events, which were what was required with House Bill 410. So we did add to the student screens. You can see that on each student. We added the possible hours and the student's percentage based on that. I've had some questions on that. Again, the Truancy Chronic page is to assist your districts to, stay on top of attendance. This isn't anything that is reported to the state necessarily. This isn't anything based on your district policy. This is just strictly, here's this student, their current possible hours and their current percentage based on those three things. This has nothing to do with my district has decided 3% is their notification. My district decided 5%. My district's going by the state minimum. My district's going by our calendar. None of that is entered into this. This is strictly just to assist you when looking at students to say, whoa, that percentage isn't where we would like for it to be. I've had a lot of questions, why aren't we doing it on the full year? This is based on our FS calculation to the state, and you cannot assume future attendance. So we can only do it based on through today. I've had some other questions about the beginning of the year. This is going to be super distorted because obviously on day one, the student's absent, it's going to have 100%. And we recognize that. But again, one of the whole attempts of these new attendance laws is to get on top of this attendance before it becomes a problem. So yes, because it says 100%, it's obviously not going to stay 100% because the more possible hours, that percentage would go down. So again, this is just to assist you. I've had another question, I need a DAT tag to pull this out. We don't have a DAT tag to pull that out. I'm not really sure you want a DAT tag to pull that out. Again, this is not for your notifications to parents. This is just an assist for you to keep an eye on students. The core PowerSchool, we've worked on making changes so that these do all line up, realizing that was confusing. These first two columns were under House Bill 410, total absence for the month and for the year, excluding medical. So, the updates to all three screens so that they all match. We've worked on that as well. Another thing that keeps getting brought up is August 1st is when the board policies have to be adopted, and we recognize that, August 1st of 26. However, you can read that for the 25-26 school year, the department recommends schools and districts collaborate with their county juvenile courts to adopt practices that align to their upcoming policies and updated law rather than practice from past years. Again, this is straight off ODU's website. There are tons and tons and tons of assistance out there if you go to their website. Chris, do we have a question?
There is.
Thank you.
So Dawn had asked if the current percentage you were discussing can be removed.
We can make that an op. Yeah, we can look into that. That was a really big request, so we thought the districts needed that, but we can look to see if we can make that an option. Again, we put it on there to assist you, but we can look to see if we can make that an option to remove that percentage. So with our truancy and chronic absenteeism summary, your total absence hours, you can see here for the second indicator here, you will want to use that based on your district's policies. So, every school, even different buildings can go different hours. So, in this building, it might be 45.5 hours. In another building, it might be 50.2 hours. I don't know. But, here is where you would save the default and use what you want for your district when utilizing that. Again, you can set the current selection after you've filtered, and you can download there as well. We added DAT tags with the December release. You can get present hours, medical hours. We added the ability in the DAT tags to use the old House Bill 410 rules or not use the old House Bill 410 rules. So as an example, excused _month, if you say no to House Bill 410 rules, it gives you the total excused for the year. If you say yes to House Bill 410 rules, it will give you the total excused minus the medical. Again, totally different parameters for those queries, those calculations. So I was also asked for some examples how you would use DAT tags. So here's an example of one of those. Excuse me. So this is the excused month with House Bill 410 no. So what that is showing you is, if you look at the truancy chronic page, the total excused absence hours for the year. Please recognize again, the state will only take decimals. So the query is going to come out in decimals because that's how we have to calculate it for the state. And on the screen, you can see it is hours and minutes, only because that's much easier for you to work with rather than having to calculate 30 hours and 2 minutes is, do the math to make it match the 30.04. I get questions about that a lot. Here's a second example. This is for the present hours. The current DAT tag will produce the student name, the student number, and the present hours. So you can see how in this example, the 536.15 or 536 hours, 15 minutes minus the 47 hours, 7 minutes equals the 4089.13. And this is the difference between decimals and hours and minutes. The third example produces the absence hours per year, the total all excused and unexcused. You can see that's the 47 hours, 7 minutes, which is the equivalent of 47.12 in decimals. These are the DAT tags that should be used for the new calculations, because everything counts under the new laws. Medical is not excluded. Chris, do we have another question?
I apologize. I was having a lovely
No problem.
conversation.
I appreciate
didn't
you
realize I was
watching
on
for
mute.
me.
Yeah, no, we do. There was a question that was asked, have these DATs been added to the PS DAT reference under the help menu?
We have not. We have an issue with PowerSchool in our documentation that we're currently working on, but it is in process, but it is not there yet. Good question.
Hey, Susan, I just wanted to add the PowerSchool DAT reference page that Rich is referring to is different. Like those, the information won't be posted there, guys. It'll be in the state reporting help. Okay, so I just want to make sure we're clear on that. The state DATs, they're not usually on the DAT reference. So that's all I wanted to add.
Appreciate that, Helen. I assumed state help. Sorry.
I know we
yes.
all think of
Yeah.
our own special helps,
Yeah.
you know, that
Yeah.
place. So that Corey's got him in the chat. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you, Corey. Okay, so I had other questions, about if we don't go to the new, are we, breaking the law? If, the things, if we're not ready for this, can we keep doing excessive absence? How long can we keep doing excessive absence? And this is the response I got in mid-December from the state. They really are recommending that you try to shift to new areas to test out what works and what doesn't, to, get to the end goal after 2026 is over. So after the November release, the schools have indicated to us that, they're going to do this for the entire 25-26 school year. So with the December release, we did bring back the total absence hours per month. This is minus medical, and the absence hours per year minus medical under the obsolete banner. Again, this law took effect September 30th. So I've had some questions, is PowerSchool operating against the law because, you're not going with the new law that was current as of September 30th. We brought it back under the obsolete for the schools. This is not bringing it back into full production. It's just putting it out there so that you can access what you need to do to get through this year.
And sorry to interrupt. There was a quick question as well regarding DAT tags. Is there a way, or I should say, are there DAT tags that allow the display in an hours, minutes format instead of those percentages?
We are currently working on that. I don't know who asked that, Chris, but if you could just put a ticket in of where you would use that so that we make sure, it will work with whatever you foresee using that DAT tag for. So, we are working on it, but we would love to test and make sure, we've got it exact for the application that you foresee using it for. So that would be helpful. Thank you. So we did also add the checkbox on the truancy and chronic summary screen. It was brought to my attention this morning that this is not saving to the custom defaults as I thought it was. So you do have to check that box each time when you go in if you are still using the old House Bill 410 rules. Just an FYI too, this option will be removed in July of 26 because, obviously House Bill 410 is totally gone after FY 26, FY 27 forward. These calculations will no longer be needed. So I had questions as well about what the difference is when you check those boxes. So here is an example. Columns G and H will be the difference. Column G without the House Bill 410 is the new total excused absences per year. Column H is the total absences per year, all inclusive. No medical exclusions, all excused and unexcused. If the House Bill 410 is checked, then columns G and H become the total absence per month, which is minus medical, and the total absence per year, which is minus medical. So you can see these are the same students. They are drastically different numbers. You can see this third student down had 47 hours, 47.15 hours of absence, but obviously they were all medical because he has 0 with that box checked. So that's the difference when you check the box is columns G and H and how it calculates them. I did include the DATs for the old House Bill 410 excessive absence. This is how you get the total excused absence minus the medical. And this is the monthly excused absence minus the medical. These are the new Power queries. They are what we recommend using, what the developers recommend using going forward would be the new Power queries. So the next pages are the Q&A from the meetings. I'm not going to go through those. You guys can read those for yourselves. But I did want to come down here to the update. So we've had a lot of questions about the House Bill 410 attendance letter. We will be updating that to pull the old House Bill 410 totals as expected. It is currently as a decimal, but we will have the capability to be in hours and minutes if desired. Again, these are the old letters, okay? And with that old letter, there was a box that said update House Bill 410 attendance. And these were the options, no, auto, and yes. These are now obsolete. It does not matter what is checked here because this actually wrote the attendance to a separate field and then pulled it into the letter. With our new DAT tags, our new Power queries, we don't need to do that. The DAT tag can do the calculation and put it in the letter. So that's kind of just an FYI. But the other thing we've had questions or requests for was update my House Bill 410 letter to pull the new values. You don't want to do that. Here is the House Bill 410 letter. As you can see, there are several references to House Bill 410, as well as excessive absence is still in here. The ODU's whole drive behind this attendance change is to get away from this. They've listened to the schools saying this isn't working. We're sending letters just because we have to send a letter, and they have to tell the parents that we have to send you the letter. Sorry, law says we have to send you the letter. They want you to get away from that. They want, the new letter you can see is much more interactive. All it's doing is saying, we want to update you on your child's attendance. They've missed this many hours. We want to work with you. We want to help you keep your child in attendance in school. So it's a very different approach. So it's not merely take my House Bill 410 letter and update it to pull the new totals. It's a whole different mindset, a whole different approach to this. So, we wanted to make sure that you understood it isn't just an update to your attendance letter. It's a different approach, and will look drastically different. These new letters, we have the examples out there. You get to it the way you get to a transcript on a student within a student. But we will be working, CORE will be working further on this to customize your letters, obviously. So it says the principal's name, contact info, not this, this generic, what have you. Another question I have a lot is, we need help tracking these FT events that I put under obsolete. They want to be able to, can't you just add letters so that we can keep tracking. Well, here is an example of Odoo's example of tracking. So you can see it's very individualized, it's very customized. There isn't the in the box approach, if you will. This student is a B, C, or D. It's more individualized approach. This is how we're mentoring this student, or this is the next step we've taken. This is the identified reasons, things like that. So, if you have suggestions how we can help you track this, please feel free to share those with us. But, we're going to continue to make this better. We're continuing to work on those DATs and make them, be applicable where you need them to be. But your input is vital to making this the best it can be. So we appreciate, your suggestions or what have you. Chris, maybe we got another in the chat.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget to get it out there.
Sure.
Yeah, just a kind of a verification request. Just wanting to make sure that this document would be added to the meta documentation page.
It will.
So just wanted to know. Okay.
Yep.
And then one other question that just came through from Shaker Heights. Looks like they wanted to know that, so the revised letters should be a part of the meta custom reports is what they're wanting to verify. So if they're not finding it, should they just enter a support request? And I can say, yeah, if you're not seeing that, then yes, submit a ticket to us so we can work with you and get that addressed.
Yep. Okay, well, I appreciate Sally allowing me to update you on this, and we will continue to work to make it the best it can be to support you in these changes in attendance tracking. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, moving along in our agenda. Next, we have what's new in the customizations catalog. Lindsay will be sharing some customizations catalog updates.
Well, good morning. As Sally said, I'm Lindsay Kelly, and I'm going to share with you what's new for the Meta Customization Catalog. Since November, we've been working very diligently on making some updates. So for our January 2026 edition, we just want to kind of review with you some of the basic things. One way to know for sure that you have installer updates, which unless you have updated recently, everyone should have some installer updates. You just go to where your Meta Solutions logo is, and you will see that little red oval shape with a number in it. This tells you that you have updates to install. So there's two different ways that you can do that. You can just click on your 13, and you will either get the slide out dock here for your installer. You can click right here on the word installer, or if you want us to go from your start page, from your left nav bar, then you'll click on applications and then your Meta installer. On the installer page, you'll just be notified how many plugins there are to update. So you'll just click on that and patiently wait while all of your plugins get updated. And then everything that we show today should be seen for you in your new updates. So some of the bug fixes that we've worked on since November are our sleuth monkey. Although he's pretty cool to see, we do not want him to be the result for you when you go to our Meta YouTube page, either through our documentation or through Google. So this has been updated, so you should no longer see him on there. And then also since November, one of the updates that went through actually saved the words new value to the superintendent's name. So we're asking everyone to please go in through district management, district setup, district info, and make sure that your superintendent's name information is correct and does not show this new value. Next thing is our alert builder. We are extremely excited about this new enhancement to the alert builder. We are calling it the Smart Trigger. You see here, you can have up to 3 different triggers. You can use and or logic. For all 3, it does have to be either and, or it can't be both, unless you do need, if you need to use and or in the same thing, just put in a ticket and we can create that in an advanced trigger for you. But this is, it's just going to be so handy for all of the districts to be able to go through and put up to 3 different triggers. As we continue with this, the enhancement is expanding. We have lots of new things we're working on this for you. So we're very, very excited of where this is going in the future for all of our districts and what this can help you with. The next thing is our loading indicator. We had some districts who have lots and lots of alerts. So if the page is trying to load all of those alerts for you, but it's taking a little bit of time, we've added this loading indicator in there to let you know that alerts are still trying to populate. This is only available in the admin portal currently, but we are working on adding it to all the other portals and also working on optimizing the load speed for all of the rest of the alerts. And as Susan shared, lots of updates are happening with attendance. On our daily attendance page, you will notice some changes here for our attendance code summary. And now we have a new box for attendance category summary. So within the new HB 96 regulations, some of these summaries have been updated, and you will notice that the codes are in color. So your present codes are in green, and your medical codes will be in red. We just wanted to kind of make it easier as we're shifting to try to understand what categories all of the different codes are under and how the hours are pulling. So you see that data and it's a little bit easier to view. Then you'll also notice this excused and unexcused are down here. So just a really nice breakdown for you to see where your hours are going so you can double check. And our friendly reminder as we are finishing up Q2 or S1, it's time to check those report cards. We've had quite a few tickets come in, and we really appreciate all those districts that are already checking that ahead of time. We want to make sure that we're vigilant. We're helping you get those report cards all set before the day of printing and something is not working as anticipated. All right, so with the report cards, some things that you will notice that might be different. Some people may not have seen this, hopefully you didn't, but we found that the report cards were showing future attendance. So you can see all of these dates down here are future attendance. And as in the other page where codes were green or red, future attendance is going to be in this gold color. So anytime future attendance is listed, it should not be in your counts categories and it should not be showing on your report cards. So we have fixed that issue so that will no longer be showing up on any of your report cards. And then we had a couple districts ask about having only specific codes showing on their report cards. So now you can go in under your report card settings and under your student header for your attendance, you can choose if you only want specific codes. So you can see here, this is a comma separated. So you would put in every individual code. And yes, you do have to list every individual code unless you are putting all. If you leave it blank, that is your default for all codes to be counted on your report card. But this is comma separated, and you do not want to insert any extra spaces unless the code itself actually includes a space. We do have some districts that might have A space B. So you don't want to add any extra spaces into this, like between your commas, because that will cause the functionality to not work correctly. Next on our report cards, we have our course name updated. So we noticed a couple of our districts, say last year they had College Prep English 11. They updated that course name to say English 11. So that took out the grades from last year to this year. This is something that when we added the course combined feature, this caused some of the issues with the course names if they were updated. So this has been corrected, and now this will work as you would anticipate. So those grades will now populate even though the course name has been changed. Another thing we noticed was the school header missing. If historical grades, if a student transferred in and their historical grades were entered at the district office, the student header would not load. So that's something we noticed during our testing, and we have corrected that issue. All right, and published grades. Sarah is going to go over our published grades portion.
You've always had a lot of control over when parents can see the actual grades. So this screen is under Parent Portal. If you go to your report card settings, General Parent Portal settings. It's now a two-part screen. The top part is the original way it's always been. And then the new part is at the bottom. So for the top part, if I was in Q1 and I am doing my report cards and I say I don't want them to see Q3 grades yet, teachers have started entering them, they would show up. I would come to this screen and under portal terms removed, I would type in Q2, Q3, Q4. Because I don't want my parents and students to see those grades yet. So that's how you've been controlling this. When you do that, it puts an asterisk on your report card on the term, shows that it's hidden. That asterisk is an indicator that it's hidden. So works great. The problem is when Q2 rolls around, we get tickets that say, hey, I don't see my Q2 grades. That's because you have to remember to come here and remove that, take Q2 out, so those grades would start showing up on the report card. That's kind of cumbersome. So Corey has created the bottom part, and the bottom part will automate this same process. So for instance, under published grades, publish just means display the grades. If I have always typed in that box, that means grades are going to start showing up right away. But if I want my grades not to show up until 5 days after the term ends, I would remove that always. I would just type over it with a 5. Those examples are showing me that I can say display them before the term ends, on the day the term ends by putting in a 0, or the number of days after that I want it to show up, or always. So it's just a way that then you don't have to remember to come in and say, oh, I got to take out Q2, and then Q3 have to come along and take that out. The thing that's important for you to remember is the original part at the top is the default. It's going to supersede what's at the bottom. So if you want to use the bottom part, I would blank out your portal terms removed from the current year at the top, and then put in whatever you want in the published grades, always 5, 10, whatever it is you want. And then it's kind of a set it and forget it. But the important thing to remember is top takes precedence. So it's just an old way and a new way, automatic. Questions?
Yep, sorry. There was a question about the breadcrumb trail to get to that page. I was trying to get that pulled up myself to provide that. But
so what I would do, Nicole, is, I'm a big fan of the search. I would go up to search and type in report card settings. And when that report card settings opens up, you would see, because it will be open up to the general tab, you'll see parent portal settings, and then you just click on that. And Sally's going to click on that and go there. I didn't realize we were.
No, we're not. So you can, it's the district management academics report card settings, or if you're at the school level, school management academics report card settings. Once you get to that settings page there, then you'll see the containers to select.
Yeah. Oh, you scroll on down. It's already on general, so you're just going to scroll on down until you see parent student portal settings. And you're just going to click on that, and that's where you'll see the screen. Just to verify, if the terms listed in the top, the bottom will be ignored. I would say yes and no. Corey, I don't know if you want to hop in on that one. I know that the top will supersede, but I don't know that it would also work in conjunction.
They work together.
Okay.
So you can, at the top, put a Y1. So you want to guarantee Y1 is not displayed even after the term ends. But then you can put a 0 in. So the day the term ends, all the grades are displayed. So at Y1 time, your Q4, your E2, and your S2 would display automatically based off of the published grades, but your override, the portal terms to be removed, will still work like they do today. Y1 would still be omitted. Then you would have to manually go in and clear out your Y1 when you were ready.
Okay.
So they do work together, but published grades should replace the need for portal terms.
The other thing I want to remind people is, even though you've removed the term, on the admin side, you're still going to see those grades. You're going to see that there's an asterisk. Parent and student portal will not see those grades, but you could still see them there. The asterisk is your indicator. Okay, any other questions? Okay, Lindsay, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. So next thing on our report cards are with our standards. We had some districts requesting that when you have your comments listed on your report card, the box might just say standards, but they wanted that box to actually associate with the standard itself so you could see the name. So when you're in your report cards and on your standard report card, you would just come to your comment section. And here is our new enhancement that says our standard name on comment label. So the district default is do not display. You would click that to show. And then you'll notice instead of it just saying comment, you have it saying your social studies for kindergarten. So whatever that standard name is, that would come through with your comment. Another enhancement for the standard report card is to keep the standard comments attached. So right now it is defaulted to this allow comment to split across the page. That is to save the white space on your page so your report cards aren't excessively lengthy because you want to keep the comments with your standard. However, we did have some districts that wanted to keep those comments attached to the actual standard section. So it can create more white space. However, if your report card isn't too long or it's formatted nicely and you want to keep that standard together, you now have that opportunity to keep your comment with your standard. Next is for our standardized tests. This is a really nice feature for those of you who have a very long list of standardized tests. We've used our ACT 5 here for our example. And you'll notice there is now a check mark for obsolete test. If you were to go in and check this box for your ACT 5, then you go back to your list, you click on Show All. You'll notice that your ACT 5 is now italicized. So this will not show up on your list if you have not clicked your Show All button. Now, please remember that by making this test obsolete, you're simply just hiding it from the selection. You are not deleting any data, nothing like that. It is just literally for your viewing to make it easier to scroll through that list. If you're no longer using a test, you just don't want to see it anymore. But all you do is click Show All, and you can see it italicized right here. The obsolete test is also it's hiding it from the selection when you go onto your student test portion. So if you would pull up a student, you'll see that this ACT 5 is no longer viewable. If that student did have ACT 5 data entered, it will still be there. You just won't be able to enter it as a new on the view, okay? Okay, missing assignments. So as a parent myself, I absolutely love this customization. I can go in, I can see, does my daughter have any missing assignments? What are her most recent assignments? I believe it goes up to 10, or correct me if I'm wrong. But you can click right on here. You can see how these are different colors. The colors associate back to the grade scale. So it's super easy to see. If your student didn't do well, they got an F on an assignment, it's going to be red. If it's green, they've gotten an A, they've done well. So that's a really nice visual to see here. And then also you can see if they have any upcoming assignments. So it's a lot more user-friendly for parents, for admin staff to see what's going on for that student instead of digging way down deep into the previous grade screen. So now with this, it is now available on the parent-student portal, the teacher portal, and the admin portal. Once you enable this plugin, it is going to default to all of the portals selected. So your buildings can choose whether or not they want this customization on or all you have to do if you don't want it enabled on all portals is to go into your quick lookup display preferences, and then you just would uncheck if you do not want it viewed. So it automatically comes in as viewable on all portals. Next, some of the enhancements and bug fixes on our report cards. It was prevented printing excluded terms from the parent view. So the hidden terms no longer appear during mass printing from any portal. This was a bug that was fixed, but after talking about it some more, we will be working on adding a new mass print parameter for printing a hidden term. So say that it is your term's ending Friday, you want to go ahead and get those report cards printed, but you won't be able to see that term until Monday because it's being hidden. We are going to work on providing a new parameter that would allow you to print and see those options before that Monday scenario. Another bug that we had was student scales were showing on report cards. So if you had a standard that didn't need a scale associated with it, just maybe it's a comment, but the teachers are not scoring that actual standard, the scale was showing on the report card. We've now fixed that, so the scale will no longer show up. So it won't be taking up extra space on your report cards. And to go along with the previous slides that we had about the do not combine, when courses were set to do not combine, they were missing, if you had manually entered course numbers, the grade would not display. So that's another one that we have updated for you. And then the logo. We've been working on adjusting the logo so it won't cover up principal names or any of the school information. If you are having any issues with your logo, you need some fine tuning or adjustments, please feel free to put in a ticket. We're working all the time to make sure that that looks really nice for you on your report cards. So again, if you need any fine tuning, just feel free to put in a a ticket to the customizations team, and we'll be happy to work with you on that. Some more enhancements and bug fixes. Excluded terms. The percent grades and citizenship grades were not being excluded, even if the term was. So that has been corrected, as well as honor roll messages are no longer being displayed if that term is excluded. We have added a parent log. We've had lots of districts asking about, is there a way to see whether or not our parents have gone into the portal and if they've viewed their students' report cards? So this is something, it's very early in the stages. We will be working on this a lot in the future. But if you go to district management, academics, report card, and view parent log, this is right now only at the district level. However, we will be working on it being at the school level. We will be working on it being a filterable so we can see by student, by date, by term. But this is just going to be able for you to see who's looking at those report cards, who hasn't looked at those report cards. Maybe they don't have the ability to get online. So the district could go in and see who's not looked at it, and maybe you can print out a report card for that family. And then, as Sally mentioned earlier in the presentation, our test loader, we are continually making improvements to the test loader. So thank you so much to all of our beta districts that are sending us tests and helping us with all of this. It's just a very long process, and we really appreciate for everyone being in there helping us with that. All right, some more enhancement and bug fixes. On the alert builder, we noticed there were some fixed special characters. So the forward slash was included in one of the queries, and it was blocking the alert from loading. So we were able to correct that. And there was also an item when the go-to page was reverting back to an undefined page. That has been updated as well. Code set sorting. We went over this in November, but just to go back to our code sets, a little bit of information. PowerSchool did an update that also brought in pagination to the code sets. We can only display 1,000 at a time. If it's over 1,000, the manual sort will not work, unfortunately. That's just a PowerSchool limitation we weren't able to get around. But we also noticed after all of those issues that were corrected, there was a large gap. Sometimes if you were manually updating the items on your code set, so that has been updated as well. So check out code sets if you haven't been in there. It's really, really nice how they're working. Very, very user friendly, and constantly making sure that those are going to be much more efficient for you as your districts. Power tools. We've removed power tools from the external EUI. If you have not installed the new power tools, please make sure to do that. You'll want to, after the new installer updates, you'll want to go into the community plugins. You will delete the old power tools, and then you'll install the new plugin. So it's not just an update like you normally do for our plugins. You actually need to go in, delete the old power tools, and then install your new plugin. So legacy alerts, as I said, we have been talking about these for a while. They will be removed this summer. So just as an extra reminder here on the page, if you go to one of the legacy alerts, you will have a pop-up and it will remind you this is being phased out. Please go into the alert builder and create a new alert. And then just some dark mode corrections that were made. They're on the report card, school and principal info, and then the emergency medical. And as Susan was talking about the truancy and chronic absenteeism summary, we have updated what was previously the HB 410 banner. You will now see on the daily attendance information and the quick lookup page, the information is updated to the truancy and chronic information. If you wanted to go back and to see that monthly information, it is on the Truancy chronic page, and you would just scroll down to the obsolete tab. Now, for any of these students where you want to see information prior to 2025, you can still flip back a year and you'll see that HB 410. Obviously, you won't see any monthly information because it's not a current month if it's in a previous year. So you'll notice those banners have been updated to match all of the truancy and chronic pages. And that is all I have. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Lindsay. I think we've been answering some of the questions in the chat. So unless, if anyone has any more, I think we've answered them.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next we'll have Kim Anderson. She'll be presenting some information regarding some PowerScheduler updates.
Okay, so last but not least, some PowerScheduler reminders. We are definitely officially in the start of our busy season for PowerScheduler. So, give a, big round of applause for your schedulers who are working so hard right now and who will be working, through June. So we do have some PowerScheduler reminders. The trainings have all been added to the MetaSolution website under events. So all of those trainings are on the calendars. Again, for a quick reminder, the work days the virtual work days will be on 2 weeks before the scheduled date, and the in-person work days will be on 4 weeks before the scheduled work date. So you can sign up for those accordingly. So some PowerScheduler virtual training sessions, those are the group sessions where we're walking through your scheduling team through step-by-step instructions on processes that need to be done through the season in order to create a successful schedule. The PowerScheduler workdays then are workday sessions that are provided to your schedulers to answer any questions that they may have through the scheduling process. We do these to keep your schedulers on track, and it's worked out really well. So the virtual workday sessions, your schedulers will sign up for a specific time to meet with us on the website. And during the in-person workday sessions, your team will sign up individually to kind of reserve a seat in one of our locations to meet with us in person. Again, this time, the in-person sessions are used for them to work mainly amongst themselves and ask any questions as needed throughout the day. So we're all there to help them throughout those in-person workday sessions. And as always, your schedulers can submit a case with any questions that they may have throughout the process to ps.scheduling.support@our metasolutions.net. And any of our PowerSchedulers will pick up those cases and take care of that. All right, so moving on then. A few reminders of what's taking place now and some future reminders. We are offering one more auto scheduler setup session on January 13th. This is a required session for your schedulers and very important one, as it's the things that need to be done in order for your schedule to be successful. So this might be a great time for you as district leaders to ask your schedulers if they have completed this training. If they have not completed the training, if absolutely cannot come to the January 13th and they have not come to any of the previous ones, they can. Our training is available on the YouTube channel, but it is important that they at least watch the video if they cannot attend. It's a very important session. Our student staff course setup, it's another session that we walk them through specific steps when setting up their students, staff, and courses. And so you might want to check with them about that as well. That step does need to be completed in order according to where they're at in their schedule. Student requests, setup, and teacher recommendations, we offer it again on January 15th and also on February 19th. And again, those are all on our events calendar. But we do help your schedulers set up their recommendations for students, their requests, and so on. So again, it's just a great reminder to you as district leaders to please check with your schedulers, see where they are within their scheduling process. It's always a good reminder to let them know that the last date in PowerScheduler is June 12th of 2026, and it will sneak up on us. All right, so your job as a district leader, again, as I said before, is to check in with your schedulers. Are students set to their correct next school? Is one thing that you may want to ask him. Are years and terms in each building completed? And I will have to say that we have met with lots of districts so far, and all of that for those districts has been done, and we do appreciate you district leaders doing that for your schedulers. So thank you very much to those who have been on top of that. So a few things to check for if you're not familiar with what you should be checking for in PowerScheduler is to check for a scenario. And what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to just go over to our train database and show you really quickly how we can do that, how you can do that. Here, oops, of course it signed me out. Let me sign in really quickly to that.
And we're still seeing your slide. So
okay, all right. Yeah. I'll get. Yep. Let me sign in.
Nope, you're good. Just want to let you. Yep.
That's okay. All right. Sorry about that. I guess another pause for dramatic effect. Okay. And let me just share my different screen here. So what you'll need to check for then is if you're going into one of your buildings, in this case, I'm going to go in our training environment. I'm going to go to our Meta High School. If you go to applications and you go into PowerScheduler, and you go over to your left-hand menu and you see scenarios, you will be able to see if they have created their new 26-27 scenario. So that's just one of the things that you can check to make sure your schedulers are on top of things. Another thing really quickly is if you look at your PSCB custom reports in PowerScheduler, you can see some course schedule preferences. So you can see if your schedulers have looked at their course catalogs and been up to date getting those course catalog or that course catalog set for scheduling for this year. That would be another thing that you could review with them just to make sure that they have updated that. Another good report that you can look at to stay on top of things is this course request tally. If your district is doing a course request, you can check the course request tally and it will show you the course numbers and if there are any requests for that course. Obviously, I'm using a trained database, so it's not great, but that is an option for you when just checking in with your schedulers. So I'm going to go back then to my PowerPoint here. And just to finish up here, again, those are just things that we thought that would be necessary and a good way for you to check in with those schedulers. Again, our final day in PowerScheduler is June the 12th. Please send any scheduling cases and pass this information on to your schedulers to ps.scheduling.support. But I'm sure that they've heard that 1,000 times if they've come to any of our trainings. So just so you know, again, we're just getting started, and the schedulers that are working, that we've worked with so far, are doing a wonderful job. So we do appreciate them being on top of things. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, I believe that concludes all the information updates that we had. Again, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate you being here. If you have any questions on any of the items, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help work with you. And again, as far as the March 12th next district leader meeting date, we will get information on that to you as soon as possible. So you can look for information to be sent about that. But unless there are any other questions, thank you again for attending, and everyone have a great day.